Right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Warren's Team Talk. I hope you're all well and having a great day, whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it, and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I hope everyone's okay. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to review match day 16 of the FA Premier League, which is the matches that are upcoming this weekend. So, what we're going to do, we're going to look at the games. We're going to look at the side's current form, and we're going to have a chat about the matches and see who we think is going to win the games. And I'm going to give you my predictions for the games and tell you what I think might happen. So, I hope that's going to be interesting for you. And without further ado, let's get on with it, I suppose. Hold on just a second. And put that back. Two seconds, and then we'll get started. Right, so here we go. So, as at present, this is the Premier League table as it stands at the moment, which will be as it is before the games kick off tomorrow night. The first game is tomorrow night, so on Friday night. So please try and make sure you get your predictions to me as early as possible. I'm not going to ask you to get them to me by 5 o'clock today because it's only half an hour away, and because of the fact that I came really late today. Unfortunately, there's been some issues I've had to deal with that meant that I've been a bit delayed with getting this to you. Anyway, not to worry. Let's get on with it. So, the Premier League table, as we can see, has Manchester City sitting proudly on top of the table. They have 35 points. Liverpool are in second, 1 point behind with 34. And Chelsea are sat in third on 33. And then you've got West Ham in fourth with 27. And Tottenham are in fifth with 25. Manchester City in sixth with 24. And Arsenal in seventh with 23. So, there you go. That's the Premier League table, or the top seven anyway. And if we look further down the table, you've got a cluster of clubs there on 19, 18, and 17 points, which is Aston Villa, Leicester, Everton, and Brentford. And then the bottom three, we've got Burnley, Newcastle and Norwich, all on 10 points. Newcastle finally won their first game of the season when they beat Burnley last weekend, 1-0 at St James's Park. So let's go and look at the first game of the weekend, which, like I say, is tomorrow night. It's being played at the Brentford Community Stadium. And obviously, as the name suggests, it's between Brentford and Watford. So if we look at Brentford's last 5 home games, they've drawn three each with Liverpool. They lost 1-0 at home to Chelsea, lost 2-1 to Leicester, lost 2-1 to Norwich, and won 1-0 against Everton. And then Watford's last 5 away games have seen them win 3-1 at Norwich, lose 1-0 at Norwich, lose 1-0 at Leeds. Sorry about that. They won 5-2 at Everton, lost 1-0 at Arsenal, and lost 4-2 at Leicester City. So the next game up on Saturday will be the lunchtime game, is Man City against Wolves. And Man City, their last 5 home games have seen them draw 0-0 with Southampton. They've beat Burnley 2-0. They lost 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace. They've beaten Everton 3-0 and they beat West Ham by 2-1. Now, Wolves, their last 5 away games have seen them win 1-0 at Southampton, win 3-2 at Aston Villa, draw 1-1 with Leeds, lose 2-0 at Crystal Palace, and draw 0-0 with Norwich. So, the first 3 o'clock kickoff of the afternoon sees Arsenal play Southampton, and Arsenal in their last 5 home games have won 3-1 at home to Tottenham. They've drawn 2-2 with Palace. They won 3-1 against Aston Villa, won 1-0 against Watford, and won 2-0 against Newcastle United. And their opponents on Saturday, Southampton, have drawn 0-0 with Manchester City. They've lost 3-1 at Chelsea. They lost 1-0 at Watford. They lost 2-1 to Norwich, and they've lost 4-0 at Liverpool. And so we have James Dunlop in the chat. Hi, James. He says, hi, Warren. I hope you're well. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I hope you're well as well. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in. And Tony Blackwell says, hi, afternoon, Warren. It's nice to see you, Tony. I hope you're good. Afternoon, James. Great result for Everton the other day. Was you there? Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Tony. And James says, afternoon, Tony. I was there on Monday. I lost my voice after that goal from Demarai Gray. Yeah, I bet you did, mate. It was an absolute stonker of a goal. But I lost my voice for different reasons because of the abuse that I was giving Mikel Arteta. Don't blame you, mate, says Tony Blackwell. Yeah, so then Chelsea against Leeds. Chelsea have lost 1-0 at home to Manchester City. They've won 3-1 against Southampton, won 7-0 against Norwich, drew 1-1 with Burnley, and they also drew 1-1 with Manchester United. And Tony Blackwell says, ha, Warren, there's always there to remind you, you know that. Loved your second half review. Thank you very much, sir. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, seeing me kick off. Leeds' last 5 away games in a draw, 1-1 at Newcastle. They lost 1-0 to Southampton, lost 2-1 at Norwich. Won 2-1 at Norwich, I should say. They won 2-1 at Tottenham and drew 0-0 with Brighton. So the next game up saw Liverpool. Next game up is Liverpool against Aston Villa. We see Steven Gerrard return to Anfield in the first time in a managerial capacity, and he takes his Aston Villa side there. And Liverpool in their last 5 games at home. Oh, gee, look at those scorelines. It's just mad, isn't it? They've won 3-0 against Crystal Palace, drew 2-2 with Manchester City, drew 2-2 with Brighton, won 4-0 against Arsenal, and won 4-0 against Southampton. So the question is, I suppose, is how many goals are Liverpool going to score this weekend against Villa? Whether they're going to go on a rampage yet again. I don't know. I really don't. I've got a feeling that they might do, to be quite honest. And there you go, Tony, just for you, the magical alarm. Then Aston Villa's last 5 away games. Manchester United, they won 1-0 at Manchester United. They lost 2-1 at Tottenham. They lost 3-1 at Arsenal. They lost 1-0 at Southampton and then won 2-1 at Crystal Palace. So Then the next game up is Norwich against Manchester United. Now, this is going to be a really, really tricky one for Norwich because they've had a few good results of late, apart from the mauling they got at Tottenham. But apart from that, they had started to pick up form. So they'll be keen to try and get back on track again and get things moving forward for themselves on the right track. And Tony says, laugh out loud, it's that time again. It certainly is, Tony. And just for you, here we go. So I just put that there for you, Tony. I hope you enjoyed that. And Taib says, hi, guys. Hi, Taib. Lovely to see you, mate. Taib, just so you know, our little friend appeared again yesterday and started to come out with all these nonsense. So I blocked him. Taib says, Warren, how are you, my friend? Yeah, I'm good. I'm all right, thanks. And Tony says, hello, Taib. And Taib says, hi, Tony. James Dunlop says hi to Taib as well. And Taib says, hi, James. And Tony says, we may face Barcelona in the Europa League. Light work, Tony. You'll slap them all over the place. Don't worry about that. If you end up playing them, you will slap them all over the place. But if you win the group, I don't think you can play a team that comes down from the Champions League in the next round. I don't think that's possible. I think that privilege will go to a side who finished second. So, yeah. James Dunlop says, easy game that will be for West Ham, Tony. No doubt. Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm sure that you'd love to play him, mate. But I'm not sure that's going to happen, to be quite fair. Now, Manchester United's last 5 away games have seen them, and these are all in the Premier League. There's no cup games here, like European competition, FA Cup, League Cup, anything like that. So, Manchester United have won 2-1 at West Ham. They've lost 4-2 at Leicester, won 3-0 at Tottenham in the game that was dubbed El Sacico. They lost 4-1 at Watford and drew 1-1 with Chelsea. And Taib says, Xavi appointment is questionable. Not a wise move by the Spanish outfit. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they did that. I don't know what it seems a bit like Mikel Arteta. Maybe they looked at Mikel Arteta and thought that they'd give it a go and see how that went. But it's interesting, though. It just makes me laugh, all these people going on about Mikel Arteta and how great a manager he is. How many of these clubs that have had vacancies recently, how many of them have approached Arsenal about Mikel Arteta? Yeah, exactly. So that tells you its own story, doesn't it? We're safe then, Warren. I think if I was a West Ham fan, I'd want to play him because I think it'd be easy work. I think you'd slap them out all over the place. And Tony Blackwell says, true, James. I honestly think that you haven't got any worries about facing Barcelona at all. But did they even qualify for the Europa League? Or they didn't finish bottom of the group, did they? Their Champions League group? I don't know. I honestly don't know, to be frank. So the next game sees Brighton take on Tottenham at the Amex Arena in Brighton. Now, Brighton, they've been on their form has dipped of late, and we all saw the incident with a game where their players got booed off the pitch at the end of the game. I think it was against Leeds when that happened. But But anyway, so their last 5 home games have seen them win 2-1 against Leicester. They drew 0-0 with Arsenal. They lost 4-1 at home to Manchester City, drew 1-1 with Newcastle United, and drew 0-0 with Leeds. And then Tottenham's last 5 away games have seen them lose 3-1 at Arsenal, win 3-2 at Newcastle United, lose 1-0 at West Ham, draw 0-0 with Everton, and then the game that they had with Burnley got postponed because of the snow. And Taib says Arteta should start milking the cows. Laugh out loud. Well, he should certainly do something, but preferably nothing to do with Arsenal Football Club, in my opinion. Maybe if he went and worked for Gillingham, he'd be able to go and milk a few cows. But other than that, I really don't know. Tottenham have problems with positive COVID tests to players and staff. Yeah, they do. The game tonight has been called off. So that game at Brighton, that might go as well if it doesn't get resolved before then. And Taib says, I still don't get what Arteta is doing with his index fingers bent in his team talks. Laugh at. God only knows, mate. Who knows anything that the man does? He's off his head. He really is. I just don't think he's got a clue what he's doing. I really don't. I just think he's winging it. I really do. I just don't think he has an absolute idea what he's doing. Tony Blackwell says, yeah, James, we may not even play them the week after. Jesus. They're going to have like 4 games in hand on everyone else at this rate. It's crazy. But it would be absolutely hilarious if they've got like 4 games in hand because they haven't played for a couple of weeks. And then at the end of that period, they still got more points than Arsenal. It would be crazy. So the next game, we'll see Burnley play West Ham. And Burnley's last 5 home games have seen them lose 1-0 to Arsenal, draw 0-0 with Norwich, win 3-1 against Brentford, draw 3-3 with Crystal Palace, and they have the game with Tottenham postponed, as we mentioned earlier, because of the snow. And then West Ham's last 5 away games have seen them win 2-1 at Leeds, 1-0 at Everton, 4-1 at Aston Villa, lose 1-0 at Wolves, and lose 2-1 to Manchester City. And a game where I famously backed them to beat Manchester City, but they didn't. Thanks, West Ham. And then finally, the last game of the weekend, it's not the last game of the weekend, it's last but one, is Leicester against Newcastle United. And Leicester's last 5 home games have seen them draw 2-2 with Burnley. They won 4-2 against Manchester United. They lost 2-0 to Arsenal, 3-0 to Chelsea, and they won 4-2 against Watford. Now, Newcastle United, conversely, in their last 5 away games have drawn 1-1 with Watford. They've lost 2-1 to Wolves. They drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace, drew 1-1 with Brighton and Hove Albion, and lost 2-0 to Arsenal. So finally, the last game of the weekend sees Palace take on Crystal Palace take on Everton at Selhurst Park. Brighton, in their last 5 home games, Crystal Palace, in their last 5 home games, have drawn 1-1 with Brighton. They drew 2-2 with Leicester City, drew 1-1 with Newcastle United, lost 2-0 to Wolves, and then lost 2-1 to Aston Villa. And then finally, Everton, in their last 5 away games, have lost 3-0 at Aston Villa, 1-1 with Manchester, drew 1-1 with Manchester United, lost 2-1 at Wolves, lost 3-0 to Manchester City, and lost 1-0 at Brentford. So that takes me on to my predictions. I'm just going to see what's going on in the chat. And Tony says, yeah, James, read that one. And James Donlott says Conte has a hard job on his hands. He does, and I think he'll get something out of that game at Brighton, because I just don't think the Brighton are playing particularly well. And then Taib says, James, I'm sure he'll be okay. And we'll see, Taib, says James. Yeah, I think Tottenham is in a mess, but if there's one manager in the world who'll be able to sort it out, it'll be him, because he's quality. He really is. James Dunlop says, tough game for us at Palace. Our away record has been woeful this season. Well, those last 5 games I've just read out, not good at all, is it? But maybe after what happened the other night, if you go into the game showing that sort of commitment against Palace, maybe you'll be able to scrap out a draw against them. I can't see you winning the game, but I certainly think you might be able to get a draw, because they've not been playing well either. And Taib says, why isn't Arteta sacked yet? Damn, this club pisses me off. Mate, the problem is that Arsenal historically haven't had a very good track record with sacking managers. They do it when it suits their agenda, but if the manager's underperforming and it's their man, then they tend to hold on. And this has been going back donkey's years that they've been doing stuff like that. So it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. And Tony Blackwell says Taib is because he's winning some games, the boards are happy with it. Yeah, and also I think as well, and that's 100% right, Tony, but I also think it's because he's helping the club with their image and helping them push this PR agenda and the selling of the merchandise and stuff like that. I just think that's all they're really interested in. So James is putting his predictions in. He's going 1-0, Brentford 1, Watford 0, Man City 2, Wolves 0, Arsenal 2, Southampton 1. So I'm going Brentford 1, Watford 1. I'm going Manchester City 3, Wolves 0, Arsenal 1, Southampton 0. And I'm going Chelsea 2, Leeds United 0, and Liverpool 3, Aston Villa 1. And then I'm going Norwich 1, Manchester United 2, Brighton 0, Tottenham 1, Burnley 1, West Ham 2, Leicester 2, Newcastle United 0, and Palace 1, Everton 1. And Tony, our club are run by old retards. Mate, the whole club is a mess. It needs a massive clear out, top to bloody bottom. They need to, if I had my way, I would get rid of the owner, because he's part of the problem, because he's allowing this mediocrity and crap to continue. And the other part of it that I don't like from the owner is that he just doesn't know what he's doing. He's another one that hasn't got a clue. He doesn't know anything about football. And for me, that's a big problem, because all the people underneath him are able to use that to pull the wool over his eyes and tell him, don't worry, it's fine. These clowns don't know what they're talking about. It's all okay. If he raises it as a concern, they can fob him off. And that, for me, is a massive problem. Tony Blackwell, is Arteta sponsored by Video Sassoon and Gucci? Yeah, probably, mate. He probably He's probably got some sort of deal or something with them where he has to use their clothing and go there for his haircuts, and he probably goes to the hairdressers at least once a week, I bet you. Vidal Sassoon is Jewish, says Tahib Hussain. I haven't got a clue. I don't know if it is or it isn't, mate. But if you're saying it is, then I 100% believe you, mate. James Dunlop says Chelsea 2, Leeds 1, Liverpool 1, Villa 0, Norwich 0, Manchester United 2. And Tony Blackwell says, Tayyip, that explains a lot. Yeah, it certainly does. And then James says Brighton 1, Tottenham 2, Burnley 0, West Ham 1, Leicester 2, Newcastle 1, and Palace 1, Everton 1. Yeah, I completely agree with you about your prediction for the Palace-Everton game. I think you will definitely get a point. That's what I believe. It'd be superb for you if you can go there and get a win. But what I don't want to happen is for the board to be able to use this as an excuse to get them off the hook. But you need to steer clear of that relegation zone, to be quite honest, mate. So that's the fixtures for this weekend in any case. So the first game of the weekend's on Friday. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock is Brentford against Watford. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 games on Saturday. 1 at 12:30, the Man City Wolves game. And then 3 p.m. kickoffs, which is Arsenal against Southampton, Chelsea and Leeds, and Liverpool against Aston Villa. Which will be the games that I'll be covering in the Saturday Matchday Live show, which will start probably about 2:40, I think, on Saturday. And then there's a 5:30 kickoff between Norwich and Manchester United. And then on Sunday, there's 3 2:00 kickoffs, which are Brighton and Spurs, Burnley against West Ham, Leicester against Newcastle, and the 4:30 kickoff is Palace against Everton. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens from an Arsenal perspective in that game against Southampton, because Southampton have had some up and down results this season, from what I can see. I know that they got a point at the Etihad, and they seem to have this good young striker playing for them now. So I'll be interested to see what happened, what the crowd's like on Saturday, and whether they start kicking off if things don't go well for Arsenal in this game, because I think a lot of people are like now starting to turn and getting fed up with this Arteta nonsense. But we'll see. And Taib says, Tony, you off from work today? Tony says, I am, Taib, back in tomorrow morning. 2 days, 2 nights. Mate, Tony, you are an absolute star. How you manage to do that, like days and nights. It must be so hard, because your body clock must be all over the shop. And Taib says, nice one, Tony. And then James Donlott says, would you leave Aubameyang on the bench again, Warren? Mate, if I could, I would bloody leave Arteta on the bench. No, that's a good question. I would play Aubameyang and Lacazette up front together, because I think they work well together in a partnership. I think it works better that way. But I don't know. I just think that any striker in the world would struggle to score goals in that team. They really would, because it's just the way we play and the way that we don't create chances. The game against you lot on Monday night at Goodison Park, apparently we only had 2 touches in your penalty area in the first half. I mean, for me, that is absolute madness. How the hell do they expect to score a goal if they don't get the ball into the penalty area and create a chance? It's insane. And Taib says, James, I would boot him back to Gabon, laugh out loud. See, the problem is, for me, I do not blame the players at all, because I think it's Arteta's man management and his coaching and his tactics that's causing the problem. We're so negative and defensive that we're never going to win games of football because of the way that we're playing. And James Dunlop says, I wasn't even worried when he came on, Taib. His body language isn't right at all. And to be honest, mate, if I was playing in that team, in that position, I would be exactly the same as him. I'd be so pissed off. And that's the attitude I would have as well, because how the hell do you expect me to do the job if you don't give me the tools to do it? It's crazy. Tony Blackwell says, it was hard to adjust at first, Ryan, but once you do it, you get into a pattern, plus working 151 days of the year is hard. Laugh at that. Oh, my God. You poor bugger, honestly. James, Aubameyang went to laugh when he fluffed that shot. Then he realised where he was and he stopped himself. Mate, I'm beginning to wonder as well as what I've just said about whether he has down tools. But then you have to ask the question, if that is the case, surely Mikel Arteta must know it, and the coaching staff must know that he's down tools. And if he has, why is he still playing him? Why is he even putting him on the bench? Do you know what I mean? Because if I was the coach of that team, and a player was doing that, they wouldn't even get on the bench. But having said that, I wouldn't play a system that didn't allow players to flourish. I would seek to maximise the strengths of each player in every position I played them in. It's just unbelievable. It is. It's an absolute madness. And then Taib says, Tony, it's perfectly fine. You need the money. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it all helps to pay the bills, doesn't it, I guess? Laugh out loud, Taib says Tony. And then James Dunlop says, whether it's frustration or a lack of confidence, I don't know. I think it's it's frustration, because a lot of the time it's like he doesn't get chances created for him. And then when he does, he's probably so pissed off and frustrated that he can't concentrate properly. Because if he's like me, when I'm really frustrated, I find it difficult to concentrate and keep my mind clear about what I need to do and what I'm supposed to be doing and stuff like that. So, yeah, I completely understand it. And like I say, I don't blame him, and I don't blame any of the players, because, like I say, I think it's Arteta's man management, his tactics, and the way he sets up the team. And there's just one thing as well that I found absolutely staggering the other day when I was preparing the statistics for that show I did. I noticed that Arsenal haven't won a game from when they've been losing at half-time at all, once, under Mikel Arteta's reign. I just found that staggering. I just could not believe it. It's just absolutely incredible. And Tony Blackwell says he doesn't want to be there. Once he signed that contract, it's like he regretted it. Yeah, and I wonder whether he got made a lot of promises to get him to sign the contract. And then when the promises didn't come to fruition, he just thought, well, F you lot. If that's what you're going to do, then I'm not going to perform. And Warren, have a donut with your tea. You'll soon feel better. Laugh at that. Thank you very much, sir. And Tony Blackwell says, look at West Ham. Moyes did adjust for Sebastian Haller. Inhale has a goal machine for Ajax. Exactly. And James Dunlop says Arsenal should have sold him that summer when he signed that contract and should have gone for a long-term replacement in the transfer market. There's one person at that club who needs to be replaced, and it's not Aubameyang. It's Mikel Arteta. I just want to see what these players would do under a different manager, because to me, it's no coincidence that none of the forward players in that team are performing. None of them are performing well. Saka, Smith Rowe maybe. Saka, Pepe, Aubameyang, Lacazette. None of them are performing well. And you have to ask yourself a question, and Nketiah, and none of them. So you'd have to ask yourself, well, why is that? Why is it not one single player amongst that lot is performing well? It's bizarre. And that's not a dig at Aubameyang. It would have been the right thing for all parties. Yeah, probably would have done. And I bet you, if he had gone, he would have started banging in goals for fun again, because he would have been played as a main striker, not stuffed out on the wing. It's just insane. And the other thing I keep going back to is that when Unai Emery was at Arsenal, look at how him, Aubameyang and Lacazette played together. They were banging in goals like they were going out of fashion. It was just ridiculous. James Dunlop says, true, Taib, especially with the boards you've got. Yeah. And James Taib said, sadly, Arsenal don't have that type of vision. Yeah, sorry, I missed that one. But it's true, they don't. And that's because they don't know what they're bloody doing. That's why I want the whole thing ripped up and started again. And that's why I would bring David Dean back to do a root and branch investigation and asking to implement an action plan for improvement of the club. And read that one. True time. Yeah. James, seems like the protest was damn squid. Did you protest? James and Tony are both like my brothers, says Taib. Well, that's nice to hear. I'm glad to hear that you feel like that, mate. And thank you all for coming into the chat. I really appreciate it. James, I didn't in the end, Tony, because where I sat, no one got up and gone into the concourse. Did the people go right out of the stadium, James, or did they just go down into the concourse and wait there for a while and then come back again? And I'm still calling for the board to go. Our director of football has left, but we need the lot to go. Exactly, and that's the way I feel about Arsenal. I think the whole lot of them need to go. Tony Blackwell, don't blame you, James. At least Everton fans just as good as Arsenal fans are protesting. Laugh out loud. Yeah, we're crap at protesting. I remember that day a few years ago when the West Ham fans went for the owners at West Ham. That was wild. That was a proper bloody kick-off, that was. Tony Blackwell says, thanks, Ty. Right, so let me just see what I've got on here next. So, yeah, as always, I'm going to big up the GoonerClaude Trust. The GoonerClaude Trust was a charity set up by Claude's daughter, I believe, and also Terry and Diesel from the Claude and the Bansta show in memory of Claude after he sadly passed away earlier in the year. And the idea is that he gives disadvantaged people, especially children and disabled people, the opportunity to go to a game at Arsenal. So a very worthwhile cause. And I believe it was something that Claude felt very passionate about. So, yeah, excellent. I put the website for the GoonerClaude Trust in the description of this video if you want to find out more. And, yeah, so it's very worthwhile thing to be supporting. And then some other YouTube channels that I want to shout out is the Old School Gunner, the 3 Pointers TV, Arsenal Alex, DrawnByDre, the Aussie Gooner, and the Claude and the Bansta show. All of them really excellent channels. Do great content and well worth watching and having a look at and subscribing to. And if you do, I'm sure that you won't be disappointed, especially the Claude and the Bansta's channel. When Terry and Diesel get on there, invariably it ends up in a massive tear up, and the pair of them are very passionate about Arsenal, and it usually, like I say, ends up in a massive tear up, and it's fantastic entertainment when the two of them are going at it. It really is. So yeah, go and check them all out. Go and give them a subscribe. Go and put likes on their videos, share their content around. I'm sure that you won't regret it. I'm sure. They went onto the concourse and then came back after that. And that's fair enough. Laugh out loud, Tony, says James Dunlop. And then Taib saying it was trust the process. Laugh out loud. I've got another word for it, Taib. F the process. Stick the process right up where the sun don't shine. James Dunlop, reason why I think they all did it was they did that. It was still 0-0 at the half time. If it was 2 or 3-0 Arsenal, then people would have left the ground. Yeah, I think that as well. But because I think it helped as well, but the fact that you went for Arsenal quite a bit and you gave Arsenal a really tough game. I think if it hadn't have been like that, then I think you're absolutely right. I think it would have kicked off big time. Laugh out loud, Taib, says Tony Blackwell. Tony Blackwell can understand that way of thinking, James. James Dunlop says Terry's still in hiding, I believe. Laugh out loud. Yeah, he still hasn't surfaced. He still hasn't answered any of our messages. I'm not sure that he's going to appear before Christmas. I really don't. Because all the time he kept saying, I'm giving him till Christmas. I'm giving him till Christmas. And he knows it's going tits up big time again. And he knows that people are going to hold him to account for saying that he was going to give him till Christmas. And he's going to have to come up with something major to get himself out of this one, that's for sure. So, Tony, just make sure when you see him on Christmas, if this nonsense is still going on, say to him, well, Terry, you still Arteta in then, are you? I seem to remember you said that you were going to give him till Christmas, and if this nonsense was still carrying on, you were going to say you wanted him out. So, where are you standing now, and why are you taking that position? Tony Blackwell, James, what did you think of the tactics of Arsenal with that 1-0 lead? Falling down like a sack of spuds. It was funny and woeful at the same time. I don't know whether it was funny, mate, but it was horrendous. And that's his tactics. What he does, he likes to try and get in front, and then he'll just put pull everyone behind the ball and try and defend the lead. And I just think it's madness. Absolute madness. Tutley Blackwell says, James, remember it is Christmas. Remember what Terry said. Exactly. And he said that he was going to give him till Christmas. And if it was still carrying on the way it is, then he was going to start saying, well, what are you doing? And it's still going on. And I'm fully expecting to turn around and come up with some stupid ass excuse about why he's still going to back him. And Taib put some laughing emojis in the chat. And James Dunlop says, I wasn't surprised at that, Tony. Some of the play acting was pathetic, but we don't do that if we hold on to a lead. Yeah. It was pretty mad, to be quite fair. Be excited. Yeah, be very excited because it's only going to get worse, Taib, I'm afraid. I agree, James. That was very poor from the Arsenal players. It was shocking. It was shocking. It really was. Problem with Everton since Moyes left that we've been too nice. And that's the problem at Arsenal as well. James Martinez did a decent job. Oh, sorry, James Martinez did a decent, but he not? Oh, Martinez did a decent. Did he not? Laugh out loud. And job. Okay, yeah. So James Martinez did a decent job. Did he not? Laugh out loud. Yeah. What did you think about Martinez, James? One season he did tire, but overall he wasn't good enough. And some of his comments when he was our manager was nothing but delusional. Yeah, I remember one stage near the end of Arsene Wenger's reign, there were people talking about him as a replacement for Arsene Wenger. And I was absolutely horrified when I heard that. Laugh out loud, James says Taib. Right, guys, I think I'm going to stop boring you there and go off and leave you alone. Thank you very much for all coming into the chat and having a good laugh with me and having a good natter with me about the games this upcoming weekend. I'm coming on Saturday, probably about 20 to 3 to start the match day live. So I'll look forward to seeing you all then if you can make it. And Taib says, Warren, don't go up that loud. Oh dear. And thanks for the stream, Warren. Mate, it's an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed it. I always do. One manager you need to avoid if Arteta somehow goes, which is unlikely, is Ronald Koeman. Do not go for him. Yeah, I remember last year when it was getting really, really bad, I kept shouting that I wanted Big Sam. But yeah, I can't see Big Sam ever coming to Arsenal, that's for sure. And I wouldn't want Ronald Koeman after what he did to Everton. Good to catch up with everyone. It's been a while. Yeah, Tony, nice to see you. Thank you. Cheers, Warren. Take care, mate. See you, Tony and Taib. See you soon, lads. Take care, all of you. Have a great rest of your days. Remember, keep talking, guys, and spread some love and kindness around the world. And enjoy yourselves. No, James, let them have him. Laugh at that. Oh, God, don't wish that on us. Jesus Christ. James Dunlop says, laugh out loud, Tony. True. That would just finish me off. It really would. I'd be bloody trying to find some way to get myself up to London and jump off Tower Bridge, I think, if they appointed him. I'll tell you what, if they do sack him, I can tell you what will happen. They will appoint Per Mertesacker as interim manager until the end of the season and then go for someone else. I can guarantee it. I want little Sam. He works in the corner shop. Laugh out loud, says Dave. Oh my God. Yeah. You guys are too funny. Anyway, but I'm going to let you go, guys. Thanks very much for watching. It was lovely seeing you all. So thanks very much, Tony. Thanks, James. Thanks, Taib. Honestly, it was an absolute pleasure and I really enjoyed it. So thanks very much. And I'll look forward to seeing you hopefully on Saturday, if not before. Take care, everyone. Speak to you soon. Thanks very much. Take care. Bye for now.